Okay, so to recap, this is just a little review to connect to something that you've studied already before. Linear systems can have one solution if the lines cross once. They can have no solutions if the two lines are parallel, or they can have infinitely many solutions if the two lines are the same. Okay? So we're going to talk about quadratic systems. And so if you have a quadratic equation and then you have a linear equation, what are some different options for the number of solutions you can have to that kind of a system? Okay, one thing you can have is two systems if the line crosses the quadratic twice. So that would be two solutions. And so a lot of times students say, if I write down the answer is 4 or 7, does that mean I just get to choose one? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about either one of those will work. They're both solutions to that system of equations. What's another way that you can have, okay, you could have one. What would that look like?
Just like a straight.
Right, just a line that just touches the, that's not a very good job there. Okay. A line that just touches the parabola like that would be a circumstance where you have one solution. Okay? What's another thing that could happen, Brandon?
The line could not be touching it.
Right, the line could miss the parabola altogether, and in that case you would have what? No solutions. Okay? And hopefully this sort of rings a bell, because when we talked about the determinant, the b squared minus 4ac, the thing underneath the square root, we talked about 3 different cases where you could have 2 solutions if there was a positive number under the square root, 1 solution if there was 0 under the square root, and no solutions, no real solutions, if there was a negative number underneath the square root. Okay? All right, and then maybe today, maybe Monday, we'll get into if you have 2 quadratics, and the same kind of stuff can happen with those also. They can intersect in a lot of different ways, so you can have 2 solutions or 1 solution or no solution or something like that. Okay? What's that? What?
Or 3 or 4 or 5 solutions.
Or 3 or 4 or 5 solutions, not so much. The most we're going to get out of those is 2. Okay? All right, so let's talk about some different ways to do this. The first way that you can solve these, and these are the same as when we did the linear ones. The first way that you can solve these is by graphing. So let's say you were asked to solve the system of equations y equals negative x squared plus 5x plus 6 and y equals x plus 6. And we are going to do this by graphing them on our calculator. Okay? So bust out your calculator if you have it. If you don't have it, then you need to remember to bring it. Pretty much need those every day, hour a day. Cool. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to graph both of those. So go y equals. Okay. Stay with me. Y equals, and then type in the first one. And the first one starts with a negative x squared. And so hopefully you remember that it is muy importante that if it starts with a negative, you have to use the negative button. You cannot use the minus button, you will get an error. So start with the negative button, and then we're going to go negative x squared plus 5x plus 6. And then we're also going to graph the other one, which is x plus 6. Okay? And a good way to get yourself started is to go zoom 6, and that will always bring you back to the plain old 10 by 10 window. So Maddie, how many solutions? 2 solutions. Good. We've got a parabola and a straight line that cross twice. So we're going to end up having two solutions. Are you ready to find what they are?
Yeah.
Okay, we've done this before, so hopefully this won't be too totally amazing. Second, calc, and then I obviously want number 5 because I want to see where they intersect. Okay, now it's going to ask me a series of questions. The first one is this the first curve? And you just have to hit enter.
Wait, what do we click when we get
The next one is this the second curve? And then you hit enter.
Whoa,
And then
slow
the
down.
next thing they
Wait,
want
wait,
you,
slow
whoa,
down.
whoa, whoa, shh, shh.
Go back. My brain hurts.
And then the next thing they want you to do is to make a guess. And to make a guess, you just need to move the cursor using these buttons here to close to where they cross. Okay? So mine is already set up right here. So I'm going to hit enter a third time. And then on the bottom it says what my answer is. Okay? Now, this is a little wacky right here. 6.056 e to the negative 15th. What does that mean? Really small number. This is scientific notation, so I'd have to go to the left 15 times. So I'm going to count this as 0. So I'm going to say one solution is 0, 6. And I will write that down right here, 0, 6.
What if you put, or what if you just stay on the graph and then the little thing? Because I did that and I got 0.
Oh, you're using trace? Okay, we don't want to do that because for that very reason, because it won't give you an exact answer. It'll just give you a close
completely
one.
lost me.
Okay, all right, lost a bunch of you, and you all kind of freaked out on
That's
me.
because
You get a you get a second chance because there's another solution that we need to find over here. Okay, so one more time. You ready?
Yes.
Second, calc,
Second.
which is above trace. I want to choose number 5 because I want to see where those two curves intersect.
Okay.
When it says first curve, I'm just going to hit enter.
Enter.
When it says second curve, I'm just going to hit enter again. And now that it says yes, I need to move this over closer to this other intersection by using the right arrow until it gets close to where those cross. And then now when I hit enter, it says this solution is 410. Okay? So my two solutions to this system are 0, 6, and 410. Okay?
Okay, alright.
I can write down the steps. Yes.
Guess what, Valentina? They make ovens in Chile and they're solar powered. I learned about it today.
I don't know if she knows.
No, it's new. Check it out. It was on
Channel 1.
I'll draw it on and then put Chile. What is channel 1?
All right, the other way that you can solve these is by substitution. So let's take two of them again. And this time, instead of solving them by graphing, I'm going to solve them by substitution. Okay? So I'll give you a chance to copy those down. All right, so since I have y equals negative x squared minus x plus 6, and I have y equals x plus 3, since those both equal y, I can set them equal to each other. So I can rewrite this as one single equation, negative x squared minus x plus 6 equals x plus 3. Okay? And that's called substitution, because what I'm doing essentially is I'm substituting that value in there for y. So instead of writing y, I'm writing x plus 3. Okay? So now I have to solve that equation, and we have been doing that for weeks, it seems like. What do I do first? Yeah, I've got to get everything together on one side, combine like terms kind of thing. So do you want to move everything to the left or everything to the right?
The left.
To the left, okay. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So that gives me negative x squared. What does negative x take away x? Minus 2x. And plus 6 take away 3 is obviously 3. And then these things both cancel over here. So that equals 0. Okay? So now I have a quadratic equation set equal to 0. I can solve it by factoring. I can solve it by graphing. I can solve it by quadratic formula. I can solve it by completing the square. What do you want to do? Quadratic formula. Okay, so x equals, what's the opposite of b? 2 plus or minus the square root of what's b squared? 4 minus 4 times a is negative 1 and c is 3. And that's all going to be over 2a, which is negative 2. Okay, so that's just plug the numbers in. Now I'm going to simplify underneath the square root. Since I have an even number of negatives, is this going to be minus or plus? Plus. So 4 plus 12 is 16. So I get 16 underneath the square root. And what is the square root of 16? 4. With those, nobody cares. And then to finish this, I have to go to plus 4 is, bless you, 6. And 6. And then to minus 4 is negative 2. And so, hold on a second. 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. And negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. So my two answers are negative 3 and 1. Yes?
Can you divide by 2?
I could have divided everything by 2 first, yeah. Okay? All right, now, we are unfortunately not done. Because what I just figured out was what x equals. But each one of those x's has a y that goes with it. Because now we're finding points where graphs intersect. So if I know that x is negative 3, how do I figure out what y is? Plug it in, and I can plug it into either one, and if I did it correctly, I'll get the same answer each time. It's going to be easier, obviously, to put it into here. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And then if I plug 1 into there, 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay? And we'll leave it like that. If it was a testing situation and you had a little extra time, you might want to plug it into here, too, to make sure you got the right answer. Okay?
Do you want to hear what my conclusion is?
Love to.
Okay, well, algebra 2 is just like algebra, but the questions are the same, but they're a lot longer.
Right.
Oh!
It's a little bit more advanced.
Stop!